right, podcast with tritones, Mark Amiradakis. I'm sorry for the fifth time. Just say your surname again, Mark.
Amiradakis. So it's
That's
the
the way.
R.
It's the R.
That's a
From
R.
from Tritones, podcast number 2. It's the
Beautiful.
check-in. Welcome back.
Thank you.
All daai cluster van dinge, Mark, altyd 'n eer om met jou te wees. The last time we were here, Tritones, coming from Mojo Hands,
That's
Tritones, it was major early days. I mean, you guys were still figuring out your routine to practice. And what has happened since the last time we spoke? Were there any changes, any surprises, good or bad? What happened?
Sure. Do you have any idea when that was actually that we had that first one?
I think it was in April.
Was it in April?
April.
So we're talking about, what, 6
May, June,
months?
July. Yeah, it was basically 6 months.
Yeah. No, well, look, those days are quite early, and the band has gained a lot of traction, interestingly enough. And I say interesting because it was by chance that we came together. And since our last interview with you, Tupers, we've got to play pretty much many gigs. We've spent a lot of time in Bloemin doing some festivals. We've played pretty much all of the kind of venues that do live music. Kimberley as well as opened up because Jason comes
Jason's
from
from Kimberley,
Kimberley. So he's got some great connections that side, and we've done festivals there. We've done biker rallies. We've done, public holiday celebrations. We'll be going to Clarence soon, Lady Brand, and Klokkolaan as well. So multiple avenues have opened up of exploration, and the vibe's still good, and people really seem to enjoy the vibe. So that's what keeps us really happy as well.
That's nice, man. That's nice. And you missed one there, but we're going to touch on it now. Bloemin loud. We're going to come
No,
back
but
to
that needs its own question, doesn't it?
I've got that for you, Mark.
Right.
I've got that for you right
Okay.
here. What has been the biggest lesson for Tritone in the past couple of months? What have you discovered?
So coming three individuals coming together to make music. I think the biggest lesson I've learned is just how important band dynamic is. When I say band dynamic, it's obviously an interpersonal thing that you need to be able to communicate on a certain plane or frequency, not necessarily verbally, but you understand certain things need to sit in place in order for you to feel comfortable. And luckily with the band, over the last, 12 months, we've managed to actually find a very sweet spot. And you start reading body language, eye contact makes a big thing. And for me, that's a very rewarding experience because it's something you can't necessarily articulate to somebody who has never been in that setup. It's almost like you transcend to another realm briefly, where, as Aristotle would say, it's a noetic space where there's this beautiful harmony and you feel like in a moment it's captured in time and it's priceless and it's timeless. And you come out of that and it's just beautiful. And when you see people enjoying that kind of dynamic, it's fantastic. And that's a very big lesson that I've learned as well. And what I mean by that, again, the vibe has to be good. Ego can't play a role.
No.
And you have to just enjoy what you're doing. As soon as it becomes tedious, then you know there's something wrong. And luckily, I think everyone's enjoying still, which is fantastic.
Which is great, Mark, which is real great. Before I moved on, you mentioned now a great old philosopher, Aristotle. And being a philosopher yourself, just like a little bonus question here, which one is your favorite?
Sheep is... So my philosophical inclination in terms of lecturing and writing is definitely more grounded in, I would say, the German philosophers, 20th century and beyond, particularly their works that they do on technology and society. So names like Theodor Adorno, Max Horkheimer, Herbert Marcuse, Erich Fromm, these are my heroes and have fortified my stance in terms of trying to make sense of reality, which is very difficult, as we know.
Ek kan in jou lippe hang maak. Ek kan in jou lippe hang.
Thank
Jou
you.
siening oor die lewe en die manier hoe jy 'n ding oordra, jou boodskap is baie duidelik, maar tog so mesmerizing in 'n mate. You've got a very nice talent there, Mark. I've got to give that to you.
Thank
buddy.
you very much. I appreciate that.
During the lineup and the time past couple of months, has there changes come into play in the band? Dynamics, roles changed about, or are you still more or less grounded in your ways?
I think no, pretty much the role's not necessarily clearly set in stone, but there's my confidence in terms of singing and doing backup is growing because that was something very new to me. So fortunately enough, the band's happy to explore that. Obviously, if it sounds cool, if it doesn't sound cool, then you need to just go back and work it. But there's never been a clear cut, this is all you can do and that's all you have to do. So it's quite fluid and it's very supportive as well. And that's beautiful because as any musician will know, there's so much to learn and you can never stop learning. And that humility is the driving force to want to always grow and get better, not to be better than anyone else, but to be better than the previous version of yourself.
Of yourself, that's right.
And I love that. So with band already, I feel like I've definitely grown. And I can't speak for the other guys, but I think they are enjoying it, and hopefully they've got the same sense of accomplishment and an eagerness to want to go forward as well.
Nice.
You just have to enjoy.
That's the main thing about it all, ne? If you don't enjoy it, why do it in the first place?
Time is limited on this plane of existence we called,
Earth.
life on this, exactly. And the older I'm getting, the more I realize if you're fortunate enough to meet good people who support what you do and you can support what they do, cherish that, hold on to it for as long as you can, because we never know when it will end. And that's not to be bleak, it's more to say, that old school carpe diem, seize the day.
Seize the day, that's right.
Dead Poet Society. I'm giving my age away, but
No,
fantastic
I know it
film.
as well.
But you know what I'm talking about. And I love that. And I think music has definitely been that aspect for me, obviously along with my philosophical inclinations. But they fuse together very nicely. And I find they balance each other quite nicely as well.
Obviously, you do this for your following, for the people that listen to you and that enjoy your music. I want to take the conversation to that side a bit. Have you got any feedback coming from your previous band to Tritones now? Any feedback, and whether it be positive or negative, from the listeners' aspect? What are they experiencing during this change, during this new phase?
Yeah, the thing is, the Mojo Hands was primarily a blues band. And I mean, blues is a beautiful genre that's got many different facets to it, which we all enjoyed, luckily. I mean, I had a beautiful thing there with that band as well. The Tritones, we still do a bit of blues, but what I enjoyed being introduced to the band was that we started opening up different genres as well into the mix. And people who followed Mojo Hands and now I've seen the transition into the Tritones are, I mean, I can say positively that they enjoyed Mojo Hands, but Tritones has a different flavor. And luckily enough, it seems like it's a flavor that appeals to quite a few people. We've actually had overwhelmingly positive feedback, which is, I think we're all a little bit kind of dumbfounded, not to underplay or undermine what we're doing, but it's just seemed to gel really nicely, and the feedback that we're getting is really supportive and positive. So I think we're all just enjoying what we're doing, and yeah, I think the general consensus is Tritones is very different from Mojo Hands, but it still works. It's fun and there's a good energy. I think that's what people like as well.
I can second that as well. And how do you find the balance between going for something new with Tritones, but also stating true to what makes Tritones Tritones?
Yeah, that's a really good question. I think what's interesting about the band is we all come from different genres primarily, and I mean, people are versatile enough to play in different, let's say, genres of music, whether it be metal, funk, rock, blues, whatever, even some heavy metal or whatever. But I think the different elements or attributes that each player brings with him. It doesn't always work, don't get me wrong. It's not like everything you touch is amazing, but more often than not, if we have an idea for a new song that you go into, and there's always a consensus on songs. That's the thing as well. There's an agreement. So no one ever feels forced to do anything.
That's right.
And I like that. And in that respect, I think it works really well. And in that sense, it sits very nicely. Yeah, so no, it's the thing with music, particularly what we're doing, what we do, you don't want to stagnate. You don't want to put yourself in a box and say this is it. You also don't want to let your set list stay at the same 15 songs or 20 songs forever. And you need to inject new life, new blood into it in order for it to grow. And that's actually
And stay relevant though, ne?
exactly
Stay relevant.
exactly. And then, but it seems to have been working. So that's why up to this point, we're trying to follow these kind of guidelines, and it's proved to be very fruitful so far, I must say.
I think it's all about you guys vibing nicely together. Ek dink dit is die kern wat julle bymekaar hou en ek dink dit is ook wat die publiek kan aanskou van julle. Is that is the glue. That is the mutual respect you guys got
I
going
think
on
that's
there.
it.
Yeah.
It's an often cliched term that people use, but it's that synergy where the different personas are able to complement and feed off one another. And that's a beautiful thing in any relationship, where it's not only in the music. I mean, you can feel it with loved ones, with friends, with colleagues, or whatever. And again, like I said, just feel very privileged and fortunate to have met these gentlemen who are amazing musicians. And I'm a part of that journey as well, you know. So I'm very humbled and very grateful to be in that spot.
Being human, I mean, there's always conflict.
Yeah.
It is what it is. And I mean, you guys, julle werk so mooi saam. Jy het nou vroeër genoem, going to Clarence. I mean, you guys are confined in a vehicle from here to there, and then obviously at the show, and I mean, accommodation, everything is together. So vandat julle hier wegtrek, by mekaar kom en wegtrek, is julle in mekaar vasgevat. And I mean, conflict arises and all of those sorts of things. Any major breaks that's been going on, en ek vra so, want my opvolgvraag is eintlik, so hanteer julle konflik?
No, look, again, it's so the best analogy that I've heard when it comes to trying to explain band dynamics, it's people often equate it, compare it to a family dynamic, right? Because as you say, you do spend a lot of time together, and it's quite intimate time. Literally, you're quite close to each other. You're always aware of what the other is doing, and if it doesn't sit like then there needs to be the ability and the willingness from all people involved in order to communicate that.
Kan net om vrylik te kan sê, hey, hoor hierso, waarmee is jy nou besig?
No, exactly.
Yes.
And that then links on to the second point of that you've mentioned. So I wouldn't say we've had any major like breaks or issues or fallouts, but there have been times when maybe there's a bit of misunderstanding, a bit of confusion.
Bit of kommunikasieprobleem, daai.
And the biggest thing for what's proved to be very effective is just being honest and open and realizing like we all enjoy what we're doing. So the best thing to do is rather discuss it and see if we can overcome them, you know, if there's any challenges. And I must say, to date, that's been very effective. And I love that. There's never been fights. There's never been beer bottles thrown. There's never been...
Break my guitar.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes.
It's been very chilled. And no, I think what happens in those processes, you come out stronger as well, closer, and you're able to deal with more stuff in the future.
Growing up, I always had this starstruck idea of what a musician is and what it is to be part of a band. Is there any misconceptions or myths or something that you would like to set straight about being in a band?
Look, I mean, there's a lot I could say on that, and I think another local band by the name of Trash Can Preachers, a very good band, brilliant band, and I think their guitarist, singer, keyboard player, very versatile player, Nick Cropper, posted something recently and said, well, the audience sees about 45 minutes of a process that takes years to develop, right? So behind the scenes, there's so much work and there's so much kind of practice required.
Dedication.
There's so much, exactly. And again, you're a performer, you're an artist, so you don't necessarily want the audience to know all of this. But it's also nice for them to appreciate that, and that's when you get that kind of feedback. It's very rewarding, you know. And there's times when people maybe just aren't into it, they aren't interested or whatever, and then you feel that as well. But as a performer, you still have to carry on doing it. So that particular lesson it's a lot of hard work, and sometimes playing in public, it doesn't necessarily always feel like it's appreciated, but you just have to carry on doing what you're doing, because ultimately, for me, music is about inner growth. And it's about expression, and it's about this ability to see things differently and to measure yourself on an almost chronological scale by, if you look back last year, how are you doing? And that's very rewarding. So you need to keep a positive mind frame. That's one lesson. And then I think any musician will back me up with this. Even if you've had the best show ever, and then the audience leaves, no one gets to see the pack-up process, or actually the setting up process. And, you know, just by having gear and setting up, I've managed to stay relatively in shape as well.
That's a mission in its own capacity.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's another one of those elements that, because people are there for a show, understandably, they don't want to see you pack up, or they don't want to see you set up. But there is that time where it's like 2 a.m, you're tired, you've had
it's been a show, man, yeah.
And then it's like, you can't leave your stuff there, but you have to pack it. And the thing is, ultimately, it's all worth it if you're doing it for the right reasons. And that's, for me, is like probably the biggest lesson, you know.
It's altyd so lekker met jou te praat, weet jy?
No, well, cheers. I mean, it's a very sincere kind of outlook that I have there, and it's one that I've tried to apply to myself as well. But it's also, when you get older, you start realizing these things more and more, you know. And there's any younger dudes listening, and women, whoever, please, the biggest thing that I've learned is your ego has no place on stage and in the dynamic. You need to just be able to be humble and enjoy what you've got and make the most of it.
Humble. Very humble.
Yeah.
Nee? I've got a section at the end of all my podcasts, which I did with you as well in our previous one, where I asked, what's one part of advice you can give to an upcoming, young, inspiring individual? And I asked this towards all my artists sitting here, right? En weet wat merk ek opmaak? Almal sê dieselfde boodskap, net in ander woorde. En dis vir my so mooi om dit te hoor. Moving on. Bloemin Loud.
Beautiful.
Bloemin Loud. Let's have a talk about Bloemin Loud. So eerste vir ons kykers en ons luisteraars, Bloemin Loud is 'n fees. So to get back to, like for example, the Old Grenade fees, which was like a rock festival. Daar is nie nou meer sulke dinge in Bloemfontein in die sin van 'n platform, 'n plek vir musikante om te kom speel nie, want as jy kyk, ons plekke wat kuierplekke is waar jy nou 'n verversingkie kan kry, en die pubs wat dit is, ja, daar gebeur optredes daar, but it's not a festival. It's not a platform where a lot of people can come together and, you know, just be there for the love of the music and it all. En dis wat Bloemin Loud is. And you guys, you're the main act for the evening at Bloemin Loud. Yeah.
That's correct, yeah.
How do you feel about Bloemin Loud?
Well, look, again, I don't want to chew your ear for too long, but the thing is, everything you've said, I agree with. But it goes back to COVID, when COVID took the wind out of the sails in terms of live music. And I think all over the world, in fact, in South Africa and Bloemfontein, because I experienced that firsthand, and I know a lot of artists who actually suffered quite a bit of adversity. It was a struggle, you know. And then venues were understandably quite reluctant initially to get artists back because of masks and because of social regulation rules that you couldn't have proximity. Remember, there was like certain
all
meters
those
and
things,
all that
man.
stuff.
Yeah.
And slowly but surely, then they started to grow this kind of impetus and this movement towards an appreciation. And I've spoken to a lot of the local artists here about this, and also artists from all over the country, in fact, and everyone agrees that there seems to be a sentiment where live music is being sought after, it's being appreciated, and people want to give back to musicians. And this then takes us to Bloemin Loud. And the thing is, when I saw this happening and I spoke to the organizers as well, I just think it's such a beautiful sentiment as well because everyone needs a platform in order to kind of get exposure. That's that famous word. You always never get paid for exposure though either. Any venue that says that, say no. But the thing is, I mean it in the sense that you get the ability to play on stage. You get the ability to interact, particularly if you're a younger band coming through the ranks. It's a great place. It's that platform, and there's hopefully going to be a nice big crowd. Get the feedback. You learn from everything there. And I believe the community is made stronger by participation, right? Community is a collection of individuals who come together to want to form something new as a whole. The music community is no different. So if the Tritones can in some way contribute to, let's say, the upliftment and the fortification of the music and creative base of Bloemfontein, we're more than happy to be part of that. And also, we're very grateful for the opportunity. I think it's a beautiful idea and really happy to kind of contribute.
You actually already answered my second question, and that was, what does it mean for you to be part of Bloemin Loud? En ek dink jy het dit nou klaar so mooi daar om in opgesom. Hoe knoop my Afrikaanse tong nou sommer. Mark, have you guys done anything different towards preparation for Bloemin Loud than what you would do for your other gigs?
Well, there's this beautiful saying, you're only as good as your last gig, right? And again, it links back to that ego thing. Okay, so even if you've had a great last gig, the next gig is still the make or break of how people will perceive you. And in that regard, and I say this not as a slight to Bloemin Loud, but we take every gig seriously. So that's the thing. We've been doing many gigs. Everyone well prepared, well rehearsed. You need to be able to read the dynamics of any venue. If things need to change, you change them on the spot, right? Then we'll adopt the same approach for Bloemin Loud. The bigger thing for me is when you're on stage, you want to feel that connection going
with your audience.
Exactly,
yes.
And that can only be done on the spot. There's no formula for that. So my big thing about going into any gig is, yes, you need to be prepared, but you also need to be human and you need to be able to express that. And people love the kind of sincerity, and it's a cliched word of authenticity, but they like a genuine, true kind of connection. And if we can get that going at Bloemin Loud, we'll be very happy with that.
It'd be great. So Bloemin Loud, just to state the obviously, you're going to turn up the volume to the max. The gain is going up all the way. It's in the name, loud. It's going to be loud. Your set playlist that you normally prep for at, let's say, a pub gig, for example, it's going to be completely different at Bloemin Loud. This is going to be something else. Have you got something lined up for that?
Well, again, I mean, what you say is 100% correct, but you need to read the room, and in this case, it's going to be a very big room.
Yeah, it's going to be a big room.
You know what I'm saying? And in that regard, you want people to feel the energy, you want them to feel the vibe, you want them to feel the excitement. So tempo is going to be up, grooves is going to be up, and just the vibe is going to be catchy. So I'm not going to say what songs we'll be playing, but you can rest assured it's going to be something that people will be able to nod their heads to, jump around to, stamp their feet to, and that's what we want.
That's precisely what it's all about.
Exactly.
Jy is op die regte plek daar,
exactly,
Mark.
that's
Jy is
it,
heeltemal
ja.
op die regte plek. This one I've asked you previously. Any rituals and warm-ups that you do before a big gig, before you go onto stage?
Not necessarily. I mean, it's always good if you can to warm up on the guitar a little bit or whatever. Just get the fingers going. But usually, I mean, gigs are you set up, you do your sound check. That's where you'll do that stuff, and then I suppose you just get into a bit of a zone and focus to be able to take it seriously enough that this gig is what matters right here, right now, and whether there's 3 people there or 300 people, you need to put on a show. And so it's almost entering that mind frame, which I think is very important. If you've had a bad day, if you've had a long day, if you're not feeling so well, you somehow have to consciously still get into that space. And I think that's more of a mental thing.
It is, but it's also a human thing. I mean, dit sit in my vermoë om binne 5 sekondes op te tel, okay, maar jy's nie reg nie.
Ja.
Of iets loop nie nou lekker nie. And the same thing about your audience. They can also pick up on that. And this brings me to my next question. How do you go about keeping your energy through a show?
But it's yeah. I I mean, I can't speak for the other guys, but I feed off the reactions of my bandmates first and foremost to see. You can quickly see if they're in that zone. As I said, this noetic space where there's this transcendence of the here and now, and it's this plane that's kind of there. It sounds very mystical, but because it is it's a beautiful, punctuated moment. If you enter into that space, everything just unfolds very naturally because it's there. It doesn't always happen. So what do? Well, then you just have to seek other avenues for keeping the energy levels up there, whether it be walking out in the crowd. Luckily, I've got a wireless transceiver.
You can do that,
So you can get there, and then it starts getting people in the groove. Jason, who's the drummer and the singer, is a fantastic frontman. So he's able to draw the crowd in to interact. And I've learned a lot from just watching him behind the kits, because you don't often see that. Person who's able to play at that level and sing at that level and still be a very good frontman. And then Max is, what I can say, he's just such a groovy, solid bassist. And I think he also feels when he's in that space, he loves it, and you can just see.
You can see it on him. You can see hoe drip het van hom af.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
So it's, I must say, the energy comes from the outside, and then that feeds in, and then it's reciprocal. So what you've got in, then that feeds out.
It gets this feedback loop going, and then if you see, then it's a lekker show.
When you're in there, it's there. And then you can almost play for like 5 hours if you're in that space, you know. So
get onto a playing high, like a runner's high, a playing high.
Exactly.
Yes.
I would say it's because you know that space that you get into as a runner. It's very similar in there. It's just your mind's almost empty, but and it's got the space for just beauty and sound to kind of enter, and it's magical.
Isn't dopamine just lovely?
Yeah, well, we're going the kind of chemical route, but I suppose, you know.
Mark, I'm looking forward to it. 4th of October at Stuck in a Muck, Bloemin loud, place to be. Dit gaan hard wees, dit gaan jolig wees. Ons spot sommer so in die ateljee. Ons sê ons gaan ons jeans gaan uithaal, and we're going to get those change that's attached to your wallet. We're gaan daai ou look weer gaan uithaal, get those Vans going on.
Beautiful.
Man. Brillcream is going to be great.
No, and you're going to obviously keep that amazing beard going.
Yeah, no, I'll even think, consider straightening it for the
really,
evening.
no, look, it's going to be fantastic, and please, the more people come to support and attend, the better for the music community, the better for Bloem as in general, just because music feeds the soul.
Die groter prentjie om dit raak te sien. Ek stem 100% saam. Maak altyd 'n eer. Ons doen weer 'n raincheck. Kom ons sê weer so 6 na 9 maande toe.
Looking forward to it.
Likewise, man. Mark van Tritones, altyd 'n eer.
Thank you very much.
Lekker bel.
Take care, man, and thank you for having me as well.
Always fun.
It's always great being here. Cheers, guys.